The next movie that we have is, just like these two combined. No Hard Feelings is the newest movie starring Jennifer Lawrence and a 19-year-old kid that is pretty much... A lot of people were reminding me about Failure to Launch. I completely forgot what the premise of that movie was. It's just this again, but with Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew McConaughey. And no one cared when that movie came out in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
This movie comes out in the 2000s, it's a hit. No, there's no other way to put it, Zach. This movie comes out at that time, and no one would care about the premise. It released in the wrong time. And look, there are certain complaints that I think are kind of goofy when it comes to it, because I've heard people like, obviously it is a woman who is hired by these very rich parents to, honestly, sleep with their kid, right?
Yeah.
And she needs a car. He needs to, I don't know, come out of his shell before college.
There you go.
And, right? And at the end of it all, it was interesting to see people have that problem with the age gap. But nobody had that problem with the age gap when she was winning an Academy Award for Silver Linings Playbook, where it is way bigger than that, bro. She's just on her DiCaprio run.
Yeah, how much things have changed in 10 years, I guess. But I don't know, man. It's bogus to me. When we were growing up, they would have just said the kid is 17 years old and done away with it.
They went ahead to call him 19 too.
Yeah, like he's somehow like just graduated high school, off to college, and doesn't have his driver's license, but he's 19 in this movie. Like that definitely sounds like a revision to me. And it's also like these are fictional characters. I feel like we all need to just suspend our disbelief a little bit more. Like, I know that we're only used to doing it for like superheroes and fantasy worlds, but we can do it in comedies too, guys. Come on.
Get this. They are losers. I don't know why we started coming in thinking that they're saints and popes, and I don't know. They are losers. Like, you are not supposed to mimic what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, she's literally selling herself to get access to a car, and I think like it's also
not a role model. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it'd be one thing if it's like, oh, it's like a Lamborghini, it's a Buick, like she's supposed. And I that's one thing that I almost wish the movie leaned into more. I kind of wish she was a little bit more of a dirtbag. I wish the movie was maybe a little bit meaner. I think I would have. I think
it was.
I think I would have found it funnier if it went further with it.
I agree with you.
There's moments like I think the beach fight, which I don't want to spoil, even though I see a lot of people spoiling
Everyone's
it already.
Just spoiling it, yeah.
Like, I think the beach fight is a great moment, and I think the movie kind of needed 3 or 4 more moments like that, of just being raunchy, of just being a little over the top, and like it feels a little bit like they're trying to not go over the line in different places.
Man. Look, you had mentioned right now how they kind of rewrote it, right? Because you're right, now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, I'm seeing some people say that they don't have their licenses. Come on. If you ain't living in New York, get your license. But other than that, the timing in this movie is a type of timing that I've been wanting from a comedy for a long time. We were talking about the blackening. I love the subject matter. I like the writing in the blackening. Man, they needed it to be tighter. The editing just lingers. There are certain lines here where they just leave it. They'll do a punch-in. They're on to the next scene. You could laugh over the exterior shot of the house as we're set up the next moment, not just linger on the conversation that's being had. Dude, it is edited so tightly. And I know they could have gotten further with that. One of the other things I was adding to about how, people aren't really reviewing the movie as much as they're like, can I be the moral police this week for what it needs to be? Nothing is funnier than going from like, what she's doing is so inappropriate. He's socially awkward. You can't do that with a kid with autism. Can I say autism? Does he have autism? Is this me now being a moron who's now adding something just to make it something that it's not? People can be socially awkward and not be on the spectrum.
Right.
The moment you have people defending it in that way, you realize like they don't really care about it at all.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who just like project onto movies like this.
Yeah, they're just trying to have whatever their whatever it is to fight for the week. Now I'm not going to be over here overly defending the movie either, but I think that if this would have been made earlier, no one would have had a problem with it. I think Jennifer Lawrence is really funny in the role. I think it sucks that a lot of people, are kind of adding elements to her. There was this whole article in Rollout about how she had to fire all of her managers because they were kind of trapping her into roles that she didn't want to do. Yeah. And, she did Castaway, right? If not Castaway.
Causeway.
Causeway. And that may have not been the biggest hit, but it was an indie darling. You have
Oscar nominated.
Still Oscar nominated. Yeah. She's finally taking these roles that she claimed she wasn't able to do in the past because her managers were kind of holding her tightly. I've made several videos of Jennifer Lawrence in the past. I love Jennifer Lawrence. Mm-hmm. Everyone who hated me for those videos, well, look at that. It turns out I was kind of right about the way that her stuff was being managed for the most part. You talked about a certain fight sequence in this and certain other moments that happened in this movie, and it sucks that people aren't letting her be an actress who's being funny.
Yeah.
Oh, she stooped down to this role. It is an actor.
Have you ever watched the Jennifer Lawrence interview? This is like how she is. This is
Jennifer
how
Lawrence
she acts.
Is hysterical.
Like, I think if you see any interview with her and then you see this movie, you can tell that this is kind of her sense of humor. Like, she's a goofball.
Easily.
And this is a goofy movie. And frankly, she's like pretty great in it. It's a shame that we live in an era where like this isn't being asked of our movie stars very much anymore. Like
embarrass yourself. Yes.
Yeah, this was par for the course when like Goldie Hawn was a star, or even like a Julia Roberts would do some wacky comedies from time to time. And it's just kind of not something we ask of our young stars anymore.
I also think that the young boy does a really good job. There's this one sequence when they're at a bar and like firecrackers or something goes off. His physical comedy is impeccable. It just made me laugh so freaking hard, dude. I also think some of the other supporting cast who they have, there's some secret cameos that come up that are also kind of playing on the storyline. I don't know why people go to comedies thinking that it's a message at a church, but they make fun of the idea of two people trying to be together at such a young age. But Natalie and her boyfriend, I thought they had really good banter. There's this one bit where they're talking about they're looking for a 20-year-old. And she goes, 20? And there's this whole age bit that she does with the parents. I don't know. I think there's a lot of funny moments in the movie. I think once it comes out on streaming and people can enjoy it in the privacy of their own homes, they may not tweet about it, they may not post about it, but I can guarantee you won't sit through this movie without having one moment where you will crack up. And I think that's all you can ask for a comedy.
I liked that you compared the movie to Licorice Pizza on Letterboxd.
Honestly.
Because they're both movies about the age gap being this thing that brings, like, they're able to see a different side of themselves through somebody that's experiencing a different part of life. And I'm just, I hope the people who were really concerned trolling about Licorice Pizza go see this movie, and maybe you'll see what that movie was trying to do.
I knew that it would only be you who understood that I wasn't just talking about the basic premise of an older woman, younger guy, but that it was literally the same themes that they have in Licorice Pizza.
We should host a podcast together.
We should host a podcast together. Would you see this in theaters? Would you recommend people to see this in theaters?
I think if this was 1999 and I had, already seen American Pie recently, I'm doing the wrong year. Let's go to 2002. I would say, you don't need to. But like in the year 2023, when we don't get a lot of comedies like this, it was like a huge breath of fresh air to just go to a theater and smile at a movie for an hour and a half and not have to worry about the multiversal implications of the 5 sequels that are coming after this one. Like, this is just like a good old-fashioned time at the movies. It may not be the funniest film out there, but she's really radiant in it. She's one of our great movie stars, and we haven't seen her in this mode. So I think that alone is worth the price of admission.
You do like the prequel, though.
I'm a big fan of the... I think that's more of a sequel, if we're being honest.
I guess you're right, because it would be older, for sure. Out of all the comedies that we do have coming out, I know we have Joyride. Right on the horizon. It's going to be coming out in July, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This is another very raunchy comedy. I don't see this being any more raunchier, well, maybe a little bit, than some of the stuff that we've been getting recently. On top of Joyride, we also have Strays. And it's almost like as long as you could do the same abhorrent things, oh, but it's a cute little dog, then it's okay. So I'm going to be very interested to see how these get received, because some of these have already had screenings and people are loving it. So it's like you could be belligerent, just, not if you were in the Hunger Games, not if you were in a big franchise.
We haven't had a chance to see Strays yet, but we have seen Joyride, and we've also seen the Rachel Sennett, Emma Seligman, Iowa Debris film Bottoms, which is coming out in late August, I believe.
Good comedies.
Yeah, we've seen the raunchy sex comedies of the summer. Would you put No Hard Feelings above either of the ones we got at South by Southwest?
No, I don't think so. I think the jokes hit harder in these other movies.
Same.
But I think that No Hard Feelings, I'll give it because of how tight the ensemble is, because it's really just the two of them, right? Whereas here you do have several other characters. I think it's the most tightly edited. I think there is less space for missed jokes and No Hard Feelings, but these other movies hit harder. To me, Bottoms, I know for you, this was the standout. For me, I think this has the best quality of jokes. For me, Joyride had the most amount of jokes, but which also means the most misses. And then we haven't seen Strays yet, but I'm trying to think of what else came out. You wouldn't consider the New Girl. What's his name?
Which one?
New Girl.
New Girl.
The guy from New Girl. Jake Johnson?
Oh, you're talking about Self-Reliance?
Self-Reliance.
Yeah, I mean, that one I don't think has a distributor yet, so I don't know if I want to put it into like the summer movie discussion.
I'm in a different timeline. Okay, my bad. But yeah, out of all those movies that we have on the horizon, look, I think they're all solid. I think they all hit the different sides of comedy level. I think it's going to be a pretty good summer. I see someone in the chat's even mentioning Down Low. That's another one that that one, to me, takes it to the next level. And out of all of them, that would be my favorite. So
totally.
I do have a twisted sense of humor, but as long as the humor is centered in something real, that's all that matters to me. And I think No Hard Feelings, as much controversy as it's had, I think the people complaining about it do agree with the message of the movie.
Yeah, and it is kind of like a sweet rom-com at its center, even if it's kind of like looks and acts a bit like a raucous sex comedy. So, it's a good time. And I'd maybe put it like below Bottoms, but about the same level as Joyride.